Hey guys, it's Neo here. If you're watching this, then that either means you've just stumbled onto this video, or you've been subscribed to me for a little bit and maybe just saw the notification. Either way, I wanted to make this video to have a bit of to give you guys an explanation as to why I've been gone for so long, what's been going on with me, and overall just an overall explanation of how things are going with me and the channel. So, let me start from the beginning by saying that this is in no way me trying to make up excuses to shift the blame. I am in no way trying to do that. So just keep that in mind. Okay, where do I start? Okay, so about half a year ago, my family suffered a loss. My aunt passed away from complications with COVID, and she was put on a ventilator. And before the pandemic, she had struggled with cancer, and because of COVID, unfortunately, she was too weak to fight it off, and she died from complications. Now, and this hit my family pretty hard, obviously, as she was my aunt. We all loved her. She was my grandmother's sister. As my grandparents live with me and my family. And I think that hit me pretty hard, as I knew her pretty well. And, of course, as she was my aunt, she visited every year for certain holidays and whatnot. So that was a big hit. That was a big loss for all of us. And around that time was the time I really started to look into what I wanted to do with my life. So I started focusing a lot more on my job, on retail, which is where I work. I'm not going to say where for obvious reasons. But it was around this time that I started to focus a lot more on loss and what I was losing. And it was around that time when I started worrying a lot more about my dogs. So I have two dogs. One's 11, one's 13. And the one that's 13 she's pretty old, and we don't expect her to last all that longer. And so I was very worried because she was sick at the time. She's better now. She's doing good. But at the time she was very sick, and I was extremely worried. And a lot of things were just kind of piling up on top of that. So, on top of all that, because of all this, I tried to kind of board myself off, I guess. And now I realize just how much of a mistake it was, because it really damaged me mentally. And I just kind of retreated into my own world. But I realized after about a week of this that I needed to get back on track. I needed to focus on what was important, spending time with the people I love and my pets and my family, so that if they do pass away, I'll have things to remember them by, obvious reasons. But for me, for some reason, it didn't click until then. So, I didn't expect to get a bit emotional during this. And then recently, a couple months ago, we suffered another loss in our family. So let me give you a little bit of backstory. My father works as a teacher for my local high school. And one of his former students, was having some problems with drug abuse. And he had gone to prison and done his time. But he got out and he had nowhere to go. And I'm in no way trying to defend his actions. He did bad things, he made bad decisions, but he was dealt the shittiest hand you could possibly imagine. He had no car, he didn't have a vehicle of any kind, he had a bike, didn't have a job, he had to take care of himself and his mother. And so we allowed him to stay at our house for a couple of months, and it was great. And he was a really good friend of mine. And eventually, after a couple of months, he had an argument with my parents about curfew and whatnot, and so he decided that it was best if he moved out. And a couple months later, at my job, I was in the break room, getting ready for my shift, when I heard some people talking about someone who had crashed, who had drove off the road and crashed and died. And I asked who it was, and they said my friend's name. And this really shook me. I didn't know what to do, and I immediately told my boss I needed to leave. I went home, I called my parents, and they were planning on telling me, and they didn't want me to know just yet. So that was a big... Losing him, and it was a complete accident. The drive, he accidentally, I don't know the specifics, I just know that something happened, and he went off the road and crashed into a tree and died. Unfortunately, there was nothing they could have done, and this really shook me. It was around that time when I stopped posting altogether, and it took me a month or so to really get myself back into the swing of things, to just try and mourn, I guess. And because I was really shook up about all this. I was in a really bad headspace, and it took me a little while to figure things out, but eventually I realized that I just needed to move forward and let it grow with me. And I understand that now, but it is very hard sometimes, because again, he was a very good friend of mine. He was a great friend of my entire family. And it hit us pretty hard. So during all of this, I was trying to post videos, but a lot of the times I just felt like it wasn't worth it. Like, no one was going to watch these videos anyway. It doesn't really matter. But then eventually, I'm not trying to say that, God, I'm at a complete loss for words. I'm not trying to say that, this is entirely the reason why I didn't post. I'm going to admit, yes, I am very lazy, so that probably has something to do with it. But I tried to post things, and I just kept thinking that it wasn't worth it. And eventually I realized that this was for fun. It didn't matter if I post or if I didn't post. I just wanted to get my thoughts out there. Or not even my thoughts. I just wanted to entertain people. Teach people new things. That's why I started YouTube in the first place. Just to have fun and post a video, and hey, maybe I'll get some good views or something. Maybe I'll meet a new friend in the comments, and we can make a video together. So during all this, once this all ended, I decided that I was going to focus a lot more on my job, which I have, and I'm doing very good right now. I've even gotten a raise, which I'm very proud of. And I've decided recently that I'm going to try and post more regularly at regular intervals. So every few weeks, I'm going to try posting a couple days earlier than before. Hopefully this stays up until I post at least once a week. And really, that's that's about it. I wanted to let you guys know what's been going on with me, what the situation has been, and just where my head's at right now, so you guys don't think I've just forgotten about the channel or given up on the channel. I haven't. No, definitely not yet, because I enjoy making these videos, and I enjoy seeing just how many people, even if it's a small number, people who actually watch it. And really, that's about it. So if you guys want to see more gameplay videos, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Comment down below what games you would want me to see play. Yeah. And if you guys don't mind, make sure to hit that bell to make sure any videos that I do post you don't miss, because YouTube's analytics and systems aren't exactly the best. So I will see you guys all in the next video. Stay safe, stay happy, stay awesome, you guys.